What a game he's had. Yager in front, turns, he scores! And that's 742!
Hello out there, we're on the air. It's hockey night tonight. Tension grows, the whistle blows, and the puck goes down the ice. The goalie jumps and the players bump and the fans all go insane. Someone roars, Bobby scores at the good old hockey game. Oh, the good old hockey game is the best game you can name. And the best game you can name is the good old hockey game.
1, 2, 3. Hello and welcome to Stick Time. I'm Brett Mayerson, along here with Logan Connon and Patrick Henkels. How we doing, guys?
Pretty good. Good playoffs so far.
Yeah, the first round is officially over. The second round is officially underway with all the series coming up on their game 3. We have last night's game with the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pittsburgh took a 2-1 lead with a big 3-2 win. And boy, Pittsburgh has looked very sharp throughout these playoffs.
Their rookie goaltender came up big yesterday. From what I understand, Fleury is injured right now.
Very bad concussion.
They have a new rookie goalie that really hasn't gotten much playing time, and he really came up big yesterday. I mean, what could like really like psych out a goalie more than coming up against this Capitals team? Like, this is probably his rookie season. He's like, oh, in one of my first games, it's a playoff game. I have to play against TJ Oshie, Alex Ovechkin. I have to really stand on my head to keep a job here.
Yeah, don't forget, he was their backup almost all year, so he was injured for the whole first round. So Jeff Zatkoff, the third stringer, was getting the start, and now that this guy's back, he's playing unbelievable.
Right, and with games like that, it's really easy, I think, to prepare for a game like that, because everything's set in place. You know what you have to do, and for a rookie to go into a game like that and come out the way he did, it's great.
Yeah. Let's also talk about one of the biggest storylines of these playoffs, probably one of the biggest surprises. Two of the biggest surprises. The most dangerous team, the Florida Panthers, Atlantic Division champions, getting knocked out in the first round, which all the experts predicted against that. They all predicted them winning in 6 or 7 games. And the New York Rangers, usually the best local team in the New York metro area, getting eliminated by Pittsburgh in 5 games.
5 games?
5 games. That might be the shortest series that they've played in the past few years.
And all their series usually go to 7 games, double
6.
overtime, something like that. Really good series. It's shocking.
It really is shocking, because they always produce a lot.
Yeah, sorry, Pat. I know you're a Ranger fan.
Yeah, they always are able to produce a lot in the playoffs recently, but unfortunately they just couldn't man the helm this year, and Pittsburgh took them easily in 5.
Yeah, I think the problem with that is that the Rangers, I mean, the past few years they've been incredible, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting older. I mean,
Yeah.
they don't really have much youth on that team, and Pittsburgh, for some reason, has decided to go younger. So the oldest guys they have on that team are Malkin, Crosby, and Letang,
Mm-hmm.
and they have all these good young players that are playing.
Letang is actually going to go for a player safety hearing pretty soon.
Yeah, he is pretty soon, but they still have all these good youth players, like this guy Kuhnhackl, who's a rookie, who's playing unbelievable. Patrick Hornquist, a good young player who's been in the league for about 5 or 6 seasons. He's playing unbelievable these playoffs, actually leading the Penguins in scoring along with Crosby. So the Penguins, really, no one expected them to do so well, and they are playing unbelievable, as well as the Washington Capitals. I'm sure this set series will go to 7 games, because, you know, that's just how it is.
Both really good teams.
Yeah, and also let's talk about this other series, which has been really exciting so far. The Tampa Bay Lightning and the New York Islanders. The Lightning without star captain Steven Stamkos. He is set to return either this week or next week from a really bad injury. He is now skating, but he cannot have contact yet. However, they did win their last game with 2 goals from Tyler Johnson. So what do we think is going to happen with this series?
Both teams are kind of the wild card team. They're not, oh, they did amazing during the regular season, they did terrible. They're just kind of a middle of the pack, making it through. So it's really anyone's series, depending. Like, one player can make a difference, but it's a team game. Anyone can step up. That's just what this sport's about.
Right, the Islanders, I think, are really having a real breakout year after so many years of disappointment.
And they lost their starting goalie too. Halak's out for the rest of the playoffs. Thomas Greiss, their backup, has been playing unbelievable.
I know, and really when you have, what it comes down to is playoff time. When you have that kind of pressure on you, and you know you have to perform, that's when everything kind of gets very tunnel vision, and you know what you want, and that's the Stanley Cup, you know? And to do it with a team like the New York Islanders, a team that hasn't seen glory in, like, 3 decades.
And they've only made the playoffs, was it like 3 out of the past 6 years?
They can bring the legacy back to Long Island if they can.
Back to the good old glory days that every Islander fan wants again.
Mm-hmm. Those 4 straight cups.
Even the ones who are mad that they moved to Brooklyn. Yeah, and let's talk about the Western Conference Series now. We have the upset of the playoffs so far, the St. Louis Blues have knocked out the Chicago Blackhawks and are now facing the Dallas Stars. The Blues took Game 2 of that series. The Stars took Game 1. And then you have the Sharks and the Predators. Sharks lead that series 2-0. So what do we think has happened in both these series?
Sharks, they have all the momentum in the series. My money would be on the Sharks right now. But unless something big happens, like say the Predators come back from a big deficit in this next game, the Sharks have all the momentum. They could just carry it through and try and just win the next 2 games. But I think the Blues Stars game or series, it's going to be tough. They're both very good teams.
And those are teams that are both packed with stars.
They're all star-studded teams. You have Jamie Benn on the Stars, and is Tarasenko still on the?
Yes, he is. And
You
then
have
the Stars,
Tarasenko.
you have Jason Spezza, Val Nichushkin,
Kari Lehtonen, is he still there?
Kari Lehtman's still there. He actually got pulled the last game where they lost in overtime, and Antti Niemi took over because he let in 3 goals. But then the Blues, you have Alexander Steen, David Backes,
All these
Vlad
star-studded.
Tarasenko, Jay Bouwmeester. I mean, both teams are star-studded.
So that series can go either way. As you see, like the mismatch with the Sharks Predators, it's 2-0 the series for a reason. The Sharks is an all-around better team. The Dallas Stars and the St. Louis Blues, they are 2 incredibly good teams.
I think that's
that are
going
just
7 games.
That's 7 games for sure.
I agree.
Yeah, going 7 games. I think I'm going to have to take St. Louis in that series there just because they knocked out the Blackhawks. And not in 7, in 6 games.
Right.
The Blackhawks, I don't think they've lost a first-round series since they lost a few years, like I think 5 or 6 years ago. So they haven't been to this area in so long.
They're not used to going home this
They're
way.
not used to going. They're not used to going home this way, especially with the stacked team that they had.
With Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves.
Oh yeah, I mean
Patrick-
they let go of Patrick Sharp
They
though.
let
He's
go.
now on Dallas.
Right.
So that's another star on Dallas right there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the Blues I feel like have so much momentum just because they eliminated who everyone thought was the best team in the West. So I'm gonna say the Blues take that 1-7. I think the Sharks won. I could see Nashville
And
winning a game or 2 in this
Yeah,
one.
just to go back, we did not predict the Capitals Penguins matchup. Who do you think is going to win that series? It's a tough series. And it's going to be an amazing series because you have 2 rival players, Alex Ovechkin, Sidney Crosby. Off the ice, I feel like they're good friends, but when it comes onto the ice, they are mortal enemies. They will do anything to put their team past each other.
I gotta say Washington on this one because that power play and that first line of Ovechkin, Oshie, Williams, Carlson on defense, and Brooks Orpik. I just think that defense and that entire line is unbelievable, and that's
With
that,
Braden Holtby in net.
with Braden Holtby in that. Who Braden Holtby finally, after all these years, is finally starting to step up. I just think that with that line, who is actually the highest scoring line in the playoffs at the moment, I just think that says it all. I mean, the Penguins are having a great year. Don't get me wrong.
And you can
But the
tell
Caps are
that
taking this one.
you can tell that the Capitals have a good first line because in Game 1 when they won in overtime, TJ Oshie won it, and that was his 3rd goal in the game.
It's a really heavy series we have right now with Capitals and the Penguins. It really is a heavy series because we have 2 great teams. But I really think the Capitals are going to pull through because look at how powerful they won the regular season.
There's more
Yeah.
star power. Like you think star power doesn't come down to it, but Penguins, don't get me wrong, they have Malkin, Crosby, they have all these star players. Kunitz, but those are spread out throughout their lines. If you have a first line like the Capitals with Oshie and Ovechkin on one line,
And Williams as well.
and Williams, that is one strong line. That means that they have enough depth where they can have all their superstars on one line, where they can have enough depth where to the point where the Penguins don't have enough depth to have all their superstars on one line.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely say the Capitals. I mean, if I do have to say the Capitals, even though I actually had a lot of doubts for Washington because the President's Trophy winner usually never does well in the playoffs because they get overconfident. I just think the Capitals are too powerful a team for the Penguins right now. I mean, the Penguins have the 2-1 lead, but how many times does a team get a 2-1 lead and lose a series? Countless times.
Just
Countless times.
even 3-0 series, like back to the Flyers-Bruins series when the Bruins thought that they had it all wrapped up 3-0. The Flyers came back and beat them in that series. Anything is possible.
The Rangers 3-1, the Capitals 3-1 over the Rangers 2 years ago. And the Rangers came all the way back and made it to the finals and lost to Los Angeles in 5 games, but they still made it
Right.
from a 3-1 deficit.
That's playoff hockey for you. Anything can happen.
Exactly.
It basically comes down to whoever works the hardest and who wants it more.
You hear that, hockey fans? Never get down on your team. Anything can
Never.
happen. That's quality from Patrick. Now we'll talk, but I think the Sharks are going to take this series. Or I think the Sharks are going to definitely take the Nashville series. I could see Nashville doing something. I just think the Sharks look really good right now. Blues take their series, and I really think the Lightning are taking it over the Islanders. I'm not being anti-Islander because I'm a Florida fan, and they beat Florida in 6 games, but I just think that the Lightning are... Ben Bishop is an unbelievable goaltender. And even without Steven Stamkos, Alex Killorn, Victor Hedman, Andre Palat, Tyler Johnson are all playing so well in the absence of Stamkos. The Lightning are one of those teams that I don't know why. They know how to fix themselves without their star. Like, Pittsburgh was never able to do that in the regular seasons when they didn't have Crosby because of his concussion issues. They still managed to sneak into the playoffs, but they never managed to still be good. The Lightning without Stamkos, they beat Detroit in the first round. And don't get me wrong, Detroit is an older team, but they're not a bad team.
They made the playoffs.
Exactly, they're a star-studded team. And they beat Detroit in 6 games without their best player. And I think that Greiss is starting to get a little more exposed as I've watched the last few games because the Lightning I think are just they're much faster, they're younger, right? They're
A lot more skilled team.
a lot more skilled team in general. I see Tampa taking this. What about you guys?
Yeah, but I think that too.
You really got to. Well, I do believe Tampa really has the upper hand in this series, but you got to look back at past series when people have said, "Oh yeah, this team has the upper hand." But
Just like with with Florida Islanders, they said, "Oh, Florida has this series; they're going to go somewhere in this playoffs," and they ended up not going.
right, or if you
But they have years to do it.
if you go like way back to like 1995 when it was a Stanley Cup between the Detroit Red Wings and the New Jersey Devils, everyone thought Red Wings are going to take this easy in 4 or 5 games. All of a sudden, Devils come out of nowhere with their neutral zone trap and sweep the series. It was unbelievable. No one was expecting that.
Yeah, no one was. I mean, you can't really expect anything. I mean, no one expected the Los Angeles Kings to beat the Devils when they faced in the Stanley Cup. No one expected the Kings to win a Stanley Cup ever. They won 2 in 4 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they made it one year, went to the Western Conference Finals, lost after they won the Stanley Cup, and they lost in the first round next year. The next year, they won the Cup against the Rangers in 5 games. Like, seriously, like no one expects anything here. Like this is crazy. Like for all we know, Dallas, who hasn't won a Stanley Cup since
99.
'99, and Brett Hull hitting that controversial goal against the Sabres.
No goal.
Like for all we know, they could win.
And also, for all we know, Predators can win. It's anyone's game.
For all we know, St. Louis could win. St. Louis hasn't won a cup.
St. Louis game.
For all we know,
It's
that could
anyone's
happen.
game for any of the playoffs, any sport. It comes down to how you do that game. What it comes down to is the second every shift. People think, oh, every shift doesn't count. If you have an off shift, it can change the momentum because then the other team could get puck possession. You can get stuck in your zone. You get tired. They get reinforcements, and then they end up scoring a quick goal, and that could change the game, which can change the series, which can change a team's morale towards the whole series in the playoffs.
Yeah, and now that we wrapped up our discussion on the playoffs themselves, let's talk about some of the teams that got eliminated that we thought were going to go farther. Let's start off with the Florida Panthers, predicted to win 6 or 7 games.
I thought that they were going to make it to the
I thought they were
conference
going to.
championship.
I thought they
for sure.
were as well.
Mhm.
As a fan, I wasn't being biased, but the positive side to their elimination, which Islander legend Dennis Potvin, who's their color commentator now, said it. The Panthers are very young.
Mm-hmm.
The oldest guys they have on that team are UC Jokinen, Jaromir Jagr, and Roberto Luongo. I mean, they have the youngest guys. You have young guys on the team. Everyone on that team is, besides like one person on the younger line, is like under the age of 25.
Right.
I mean, you have Barkov, Trocheck, all these guys are developing. Do we think that the Panthers can catch lightning in the bottle again and keep developing this young core of players and be a good team for years to come?
Dynasties start with young players. You don't always.
Aaron Ekblad as well.
That's
You
true.
you always start somewhere, and this year was their starting point. You can only get better from here.
Definitely.
Yeah, the last time they made the playoffs against the Devils, they didn't really have a young team. They just went crazy on the free agent market. But some of these young guys that were playing in the playoffs, like their defenseman Michael Matheson, who I had never even seen play during the year because he was with the Portland Pirates in the AHL for most of the year, was playing really well. Rocco Grimaldi, a University of North Dakota grad, was playing a lot better. I mean, some of these guys, and first of all, let's also talk about the Iron Horse, Jaromir Jagr, 44 years old, didn't have a goal in the playoffs, but finished the year with 66 points. I mean,
The man's a legend.
he is.
He's not going to quit until he's 6 feet under.
And I think that because Willie Mitchell's most likely going to retire because he was out of this entire playoffs because of his concussion issues, and that leaves the captaincy. The captaincy is vacant now. Do we think the Panthers are going to sign Jaromir Jagr to another 1-year contract and give him the captaincy?
They should.
I think he deserves the captaincy, but do we think they're going to re-sign him, or are they going to say no, he's too old? I mean,
Of
even
course
when
they're going to sign him. I think
he deserves to get re-signed after the year he had.
Yeah, look at what he's done for this team. This team literally came from nothing, and this year he comes on along with Jokinen and Luongo and totally just changes it all around. It was unbelievable. No one was expecting this at all from such a
You
small.
always need the older
young team.
veteran player to help corral the younger players and show them the ropes.
They were cellar dwellers.
How many years has he been in the NHL now? What year was his draft year, Patrick?
I think it was 90-91.
I think they said this is his 20-something year.
20-something years seasons in the NHL.
24 seasons. that's what it is.
24 seasons in the NHL. Most of these young players have had 3 or 4 max. They haven't had the experience he has. He has seen dramatic
He's
changes.
won a couple cups.
Yeah,
He's won a couple
dramatic.
Stanley
He
Cups.
knows what it takes to win a cup, and he's seen the difference in play throughout the years. He is one of the greatest players, or up there in the greatest players of all time.
Officially
He-
third all time on the all-time points list.
He can show these young players the ropes of the NHL, basically.
Yeah, so I think that this team could develop as well. Let's also talk about the New York Rangers, who got eliminated in 5 games. What do the Rangers have to do to save themselves from getting eliminated next season?
They need younger players, and they need players who can score and hit the net.
So who do you get rid of? I mean, you have a lot of contracts expiring. Dan Girardi's contract expiring. Rick Nash's contract's going to expire very soon. Do you re-sign Rick Nash? That's the thing. Do you re-sign Nash?
When he first got signed, he was producing a lot, but
In the
recently
regular
he has
season, he
not.
produces a ton. The playoffs, he's really silent.
That's true. I noticed that.
Which is funny, considering he's one of the best scorers in the league. My question is, do you re-sign Nash? Do you re-sign Zuccarello? Do you re-sign Girardi? Can you even consider re-signing Lundqvist after how bad he played in the playoffs? I mean, do you decide to give the young goaltender a chance? Like, what do you like Antti Ranta? Do you decide to give him a
You know
chance?
what I think about regarding Rick Nash is before he was on the Columbus Blue Jackets, and they were not a playoff contending team.
He was the best player on the team.
He was the best player on the team, you know, and of course during the regular season he was able to show his finesse and his scoring ability. But come playoff time, it's a much different game. And Rick Nash is still new to that because he's on a much better team now.
Yeah, I do not think the Rangers have a first round draft pick this year, so they've traded a lot of their future for guys like Nash. So the question is, can they recover from that? I mean, we've seen late round NHL picks become studs. I mean, who can you really look for now who can really build your team up? I mean, the Rangers are one of those teams that when they draft somebody, they send them straight down to the AHL. They never give them a chance.
Right.
I think this is the year where you got to start giving these guys a chance.
Mm-hmm.
You have to. I mean, the Penguins are younger and they dominated that series. The Rangers won game 1. The Penguins won game 1, Rangers won game 2, and the Penguins just destroyed after that. They won every other game by 1 to 3 goals. And they outshot the Rangers by like 20 shots. I mean, no Rangers fan wants to see that, especially when you're playing against Pittsburgh.
Definitely.
So, I think that's all they have to do. Also, the one last team that got eliminated in the East, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Disgraceful.
Most disgraceful
That was-
fan base on the planet.
When you're honoring an owner that passed away, and there's a dirty hit, your team did one of the dirtiest hits I've seen of all time. One fan decided to throw his wristband that was in honor of the
guy who
owner.
created the Philadelphia Flyers.
Gave you 2 Stanley Cups.
Gave you 2 Stanley Cups. You start throwing them on the ice. The players from both teams begging you to stop. Alex Ovechkin, Wayne Simmons at center ice saying, "Stop throwing your wristbands. Keep throwing them." They cause a bench monitor 2-minute delay a game penalty. Get everyone in. Even though you lose, it's not as disrespectful as what the fans did.
Yeah, it's not that though. I think not just that. The only way the Flyers need to get better is their defense. Their defense is horrendous. Steve Mason is getting older. He's not as good of a goalie as he used to be. That he let in a goal from over 100 feet in Game 2 against the Capitals. Like someone just whipped it down the ice and it went through his 5-hole and into the net. I mean, that's inexcusable in the playoffs. Inexcusable. There is no excuse for that, and thank God he was not in Philadelphia. God, he would have gotten booed. But still, I mean, the only way the Flyers can improve, they need one more good scorer, and you have Shane Gostisbehere from Union College, who's supposed to be he's going to be a very good player. I mean, the guy played really well this year. And you need to get one more forward, and you got to beef up the defense. And you need a new goal.
Mhm.
You need a good backup. You need another good young goalie who can help relieve Steve Mason. I mean, their backup was Michael Neuwirth, and Michael Neuwirth played okay in the playoffs, but he's like 41, still playing in the league. I think that's the only way the Flyers can get better, besides the fan base. I mean, get new fans. Sorry, Philadelphia.
But I think that's all the time we have today.
Yeah, unfortunately that is. So I'm Brett Marison.
I'm Logan Condon.
And I'm Patrick Pankow.
That was Stick Time.
Yeah, and unfortunately this will also be my last broadcast with you guys, so carry on the legacy. Good doing the show with you guys
Have a good
this
one,
year.
Brett.
You too. And we'll see you next time.